Hello students, today we are going to see this topic, key features of operating system. So in this various key features of operating systems are user interface, file management, memory management, fault tolerance, and process management and security management. Okay, so these are all the key features of an operating system. So here you can see that uh, this is this is an important question. Okay, so here you can see that this is a very important question. Each topic can be asked separately as a 5 mark. Okay, as a 5 mark question, and you can see that it is also an important concept for your career also. Okay, so uh, how the operating system work at the background, everything you will need to know. Okay, so in the engineering point of view, you'll be having a separate paper, or you'll be having a separate subject regarding this operating system. So this will be very helpful if you are thorough with these concepts. Okay, so the first of all, we are going to see this topic. So user interface. So user interface is one of the significant features of an operating system. The only way that user can interface make interface with the uh, make interface with the make interface with the computer. If the computer interface is not user friendly, the user slowly reduce the computer usage from their normal life. This is the main reason of the key success of graphic user interface, that is GUI. So based graphic user interface based operating system. The graphic user interface is a Windows based system with a pointing device to direct IO. IO means input and output. So choose from menu, make a selection, and the keyboards to enter text, and its vibrant color attracts the user very easily. Beginners are impressed by the help and pop-up window message boxes. Icons are plays a vital role of this particular application. So now Linux distribution is also available as a GUI based operating system. The following points are considered when user interface is designed for an application. So the first point is the user interface should be enable the user to retrain their expertise from for a longer time. The user interface should always satisfy the customer based on their needs. The a user interface should have user to save users precious time. Create graphic elements like menus, windows, tabs, icons, and reduce typing work will be an additional advantages of operating system. The ultimate aim of an product is to satisfy the customer. The user interface is also the user interface is also to satisfy the customer. So here you can see that user interface is an important feature. Okay, so if the user interface is I'm telling an example here. So if an user interface is very complicated, like only the educated person can use this user interface, then the person who is not educated cannot be able to use the computer. Then there is no use in uh, creating a operating system with very bad user interface. Okay, so even though a person who is not having a education or not well known person of knowledge, then if he is unable to use the computer, then it will be disadvantages, so that the person who is creating the software or creating an operating system will consider the uh, will consider the uh, will consider this point of view. Okay, so here you can see that this is a very important part by which you can identify the interaction between the computer and the user. Okay, so if the operating system is very tough and he has to do every instruction to the operating system with the typing work, then it is a very bad user interface. So with the pointing device like mouse and input output devices like keyboard, you can easily input the instruction to the computer. Okay, so everything will be there in the menu and you have to just select it just by clicking on it. So these are all the 4 points that has to be considered when you are using this uh, user interface, when you are creating this user interface. So it should not it should enable the user to retrain its expertise for a longer time. Okay, so the user interface is must be good, so that the user uh, must uh, must be must be desired to come again and use this operating system. So next is to should satisfy the customer needs. Okay, so everybody is a customer when it comes to the operating system. All the users are the customers. Okay, so this user interface must satisfy all the person based on their careers, based on their education, based on their age, based on their disabilities. Okay, so even though you can have some disabilities like visual disabilities or hearing disabilities, so in spite of them, you should use this operating system also. Okay, so there are tools for uh, supporting their activities in this operating system. Their activities means the person who is having any disabilities, visual disabilities. Uh, so this kind of operating system must be created by using this user interface. So next, it should save the user time. So you should not he should not search for option. Okay, so the main option for an application should be readily available um, at the uh, at the main window itself. Okay, just by clicking on a single click, the work has to be finished. Okay, so this is a best user interface. So next is the ultimate aim of any product, not only this operating system, of any product. Customer must be satisfied at the end of it. Okay, so next point is the user interface should reduce number of errors committed by the user with very little practice. Okay, the little practice the user should be positioned to avoid errors. Okay, error free log files. So these are all the important key features that has been noted while creating a user interface for operating system. So next is, you can see that memory management. So the next important management of an operating system is memory management. The operating system uh, must handle memory, different kinds of memory like primary memory, secondary memory. So it has to be powered with memory management in such a way that the taking the instruction or taking the file from the memory should not be delayed. Okay, so this is the main important feature, so we'll come here. Okay, memory management is the process of controlling and coordinating computer main memory and assigning memory blocks to various running programs to optimize overall computer performance. The memory management involves the allotment of specific memory blocks to individual programs based on user demands. Uh, at the application level, memory management ensures the availability of adequate memory for each running programs at all times. Okay, so here you can see that uh, the operating system is responsible for providing memory for each running application. So the running application should not be waiting for memory from the operating system. Okay, so objective of the memory management process is to improve both the utility of the CPU and speed up the computer response to its user via main memory. For this reason, the computer must have several programs in main memory that associate with the memory are associated with the different memory management schemes. So there are so many memory management schemes. So the first operating system is responsible for the following activities in connecting with the memory management. So keep on tracking with the position of memory and currently being used and who is using them. So the operating system must have track of what memory is used by which application. So this is a responsibility of the operating system. So determine which process or part of processes and data has to be moved in and out of memory. Okay, so it should keep on monitoring the data, what type of data is being copied or edited or stored inside the memory. So allotting and de-allotting of memory blocks as needed by the program in the main memory. So this is also known as garbage collection. So allotting is allocating space for the uh, allocating space or providing free space for a program to run. Okay, so if a program requires 10 MB of memory, but the operating system is providing only 5 MB of memory, then the program cannot run. Okay, so it will keep on wait and the user will keep on wait, then the operating system will get a bad name. Okay, so if a program requires 10 MB of memory, then the operating system should provide 15 MB of memory. Okay, so this is allocation of memory. Okay, deallocation means when the program gets over, the program should not be holding or reserving that memory space forever. Okay, so after finishing its work, the memory must be released and should be re-allotted to some other running program. Okay, so this is known as garbage collection. After completion of that work in that particular memory, that memory can be re-allotted to uh, some other running program. Okay, so this is garbage collection. So next is process management. So the process management is a function that includes creating and deleting and process and provides mechanism for processes to communicate and synchronize with each other. So the process is the unit of work in a computer. So the word processing program
being run by an individual user on a computer is a process. Okay,
the word processing program being run by an individual person on a computer is a process. So a system task such as sending output
to the printer on our screen can be called as process.
So what is process? A process is a individual work that is done by a computer. Okay, it may be displaying output to the computer monitor, or displaying the
Sending the output to the printer to print it,
or to do some any actions like opening a file, saving the file, closing the file. So these are all the small work or process
that is done by the computer.
So this operating system should manage all this work that is done by the user. So the computer consists of a collection of processes that are classified into two categories. Okay, so there are two kinds of process. One is
the process that is done by the operating system operating system process,
which is executed by the system codes. Then the user process, which is executed by the user codes. So there are only two kinds of operating
processes. One is the process that is handled by the operating system.
So next is the process that is done by the user. So what are all the processes that are used by the
operating system?
So when you power on the computer, the operating system checks whether all the hardware are working properly. So this work or this process is a operating system process. So when all the booting processes are over, when the user wants to play a music, so then this is a
related user related process. Okay, so this is an example that this is an operating system process, and playing music is an user interface process.
So all these processes can be potentially executed concurrently on a single CPU. So a processor needs certain resources including CPU time, memory, files, and I/O devices to finish its task. So the operating system is responsible for the following activities associated with the process management. So the first thing is scheduling process and threads on the CPU. Okay, so it should schedule which process has to be run first, so that the user will finish its work. The user will finish his or her work in a very efficient way. Okay, So this is if a process must be completed, it needed some
resources like CPU, memory, files, I/O devices,
so that the operating system must be ready to provide all these
resources to the user.
Sorry, for the process. So create and delete both user and system process, suspend and resume process, provide a mechanism for process synchronization, provide mechanisms for
Process communication.
so these are all the features of process management. The following algorithms are mainly used to allot the jobs
to the processor.
So there are four main concepts
or four main ideas how the process are being handled by the CPU. The first thing is first in first out, FIFO. Okay,
So this algorithm is based on operating system techniques. Assume that a student is standing in a queue to get a grade sheet from his or her teacher. The other student who stands first in the queue gets his or her grade sheet first
and leaves the queue,
followed by the next student in the queue
get it collected, and so on. So this basic logic is used in first in first out algorithm.
Technically, the process that enters the queue first is executed first,
by the CPU. So followed by the next and so on. The processor are executed in order of the queue. So this is first in first out. So this is basically like queue. The CPU uh, uh, manages a queue in such a way that it should respond to the first processor who is first process that is entering the CPU and finish it and then go to the next. Okay,
So the next thing is shortest job first. So the algorithm works based on the size of a job being executed by the CPU. Consider two jobs A and B. So this A has 6 bytes and B has 7 bytes. First the job A will be assigned and then the job B gets its turn. Okay, so since it has very low memory space, okay, so A needs only 6 KB of memory or 6 KB of resources. Okay, so based on this size, shortest job. Okay, so shortest job will be finished first. Okay, so it may be also a time. Okay, so if a process A should come, if a process A should be completed, it requires 6 seconds of 6 seconds of CPU time. Then this process will be executed first. If a process B wants 10 seconds of time, then the process B will be worked out after the finishing of processing A. Okay, so this is the shortest job first algorithm to manage the process that are running in the computer. Next is round robin. So a timestamp will be there. Here there will be a timestamp, say for example 3 seconds. Okay, so for every 3 seconds the processor the CPU will change the process and keep other processor in the uh, in the in a suspended mode. Okay, say for example 3 process is running in the uh, queue. Okay, so the first processor requires 6 seconds, the second processor needs 9 seconds, and the third processor needs 12 seconds. Okay, so first of all the timestamp is 3 seconds. Okay, the first 3 seconds will be given to the first process and the second 3 seconds will be given to the second processor. So it will roundly go on keeping on executing all the processor, but when the particular time comes, the shortest processor will finish and go off, and the next it will keep on moving. Okay, so this is known as round robin scheduling. Next is based on priority. Okay, so a process will be having a priority. Okay, say for example it is a hardware emergency or a battery. Okay, so here you can see that an example when you are using the laptop, when the when battery goes low, then the user will be prompted or immediately whatever process you do or whatever very important work you do, it will be prompted that your battery percentage is very low, charge it immediately. So this is a very important process. Okay, so these kinds of process will be given some priority, such as hardware failure. Okay, say for example your hard disk is going to fail. Okay, then the computer will show you that message in whatever time you are having it. Okay, so you may have an important work going on in your computer, but when your hard disk is going to fail, then the operating system will stop all the work and will show you this message. Okay, so your computer hard disk is going to fail, please back up all your files and change the hard disk. Okay, so this message will be arised when you are having this problem. Okay, so this is a best way of scheduling the process by process management in an operating system.
So the next is security management.
So this security management is responsible for security or protecting your data. Okay.
So there are three different levels of security. One is file level security, and then system level security, and network level security.
So the file level means so the person who can access the file. Okay. Say for example, in your computer, multiple users can use a single computer. So which person can use
This file will be allotted as a table to a file. Okay, so this is file level security. Next is system level security.
so this a system can connect to another system for a resource, for say for example a printer. So one system can access to the printer,
Uh,
and other system should not access the printer.
Means you can restrict the
You can restrict the printer.
um, in such a way that, or you can restrict the computer in such a way that these computers should not access this printer. Okay.
So this is
uh,
system level.
Security. The next thing is network level security.
So the person you may see that
The person who is developing software will be here in Chennai, but
the software will be running in Dubai. Okay. So if he wants to access, the person who is in Chennai wants to access the system in Dubai, then he must wait for the security clearance, okay, by the person who is using the system in the Dubai. Okay. So this is known as
network level security. Okay, even though the person who is away from the network should gain access to the network by properly getting our access permission from the administrator.
so this is the concept that is given in this security management. Then the thing is fault tolerance. So it should not crash. Okay, say for example, your for a simple problem, the system should not crash and create a inefficient way of providing uh, services to the user. Okay, say for example, if the memory or you can see that an error can occur by mistake. The user can provide some kind of uh, some kind of data in such a way that it is wrong for the current process. So this kind of errors can happen. Okay, so the operating system should not crash uh, the whole process, but instead it should show the message that you have entered a wrong data and you should correct it. Okay, so this kind of message should be shown by the operating system to the user to avoid system crash. Even though if there is a crash or a problem in the hardware, the basic work must be running at the background, and whatever problem should be displayed to the user and the user has to rectify it. Okay, so this is fault tolerance. Next is file management. So it will have a file management table. Okay, so file allocation table, which file is having how many memory space, and who are all able to access this file, and last time of editing. So these kind of data will be stored in this file allocation table. So this is known as file management. Okay, next is multiprocessing. So multiprocessing means it is also known as parallel processing. So at a particular instant of time, multiple process will get executed at the same time, and this is known as multiprocessing or parallel processing. Okay,
So this is a feature that is supported in most of the operating system that is released in nowadays. Okay, so the next thing is time sharing. So at a particular time it should share the when you can see that equal priority of the process arise, then the operating system will share the time. Okay, say for example 20 minutes. Okay, so 20 minutes, both the process P1 is needed 20 minutes and has the priority 2. Okay, so then the process, another process needs 20 minutes with the priority, same priority. So this timing will be shared by using this time sharing uh, process of a operating system. So next is distributed operating system. So distributed operating system means you can see that the operating system will be same operating system will be available in multiple computers. Okay, say for example Google. Okay, Google will have servers in all over the world. Okay, they'll be synchronized and they'll be having having connection over all the places. Okay, say for example when you open Google in India, it will go to the link www.google.co.in. When you go to America and go to that google.com, it will go to that particular site. Okay, so this kind of location based operating system or distributed operating system, if one goes down, okay, if a operating system goes down, the load or the request made by the user will be shared to all other servers that are running throughout the world. Okay, so this is known as distributed operating system. So there are some advantages of using this distributed operating system, and there are disadvantages are also there. Okay, so deploying or creating a distributed operating system is very costly. Okay, so advantages means the user in one location can make use of all the resources available on the other location over the network. Okay, so main computer resources can be added, many computer resources can be added easily to the network, improve the interaction with the customer and clients, reduce the load of a host computer. Okay, so the work done by the local computer can be reduced, all the work can be uploaded to a server and the server does the work, only the output will be displayed in the local host computer. Okay, so with this we'll finish the class today. We'll see the rest of the things in the next class. Thank you, students.